This week on Prof and Dev Play Games, you wanted Switch 2. Instead, you got Alarmo. Stay tuned. All right, my friends, welcome to episode 451 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Over there is Anthony the Dev at Summer Speak on Blue Sky. I am the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. Anthony, what kind of an alarm clock do you have, and what kind do you want?
I don't use an alarm clock.
Oh, Jesus. That's interesting. You wake up whenever? Or the kids wake you up?
Yeah, but kids wake me up, but son, and also I have an alarm set on my phone if I need to get up at a very specific time.
Yeah.
But I wake up within, I would say a 15-minute block every morning.
Wow.
At about 6:30. Give or take 15 minutes, probably, at
That's
worst
cool.
case.
Nope.
You say it. Sure, it is cool. Not when you want to sleep in.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. Yeah, if you want to sleep in. Like this morning, I woke up at 7:22. I was like, God damn, that felt great.
Yeah. And I mean, today I didn't have to be up, but I mean, I woke up, but then I just kind of laid there until 7:30. But it's not like I'm sleeping anymore heavily.
Yeah.
I doze a little bit, but no. Unless I need to be awake earlier than that, then no, I don't set an alarm. And if I do, it's just my phone. But
me too. I use my phone.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning at 6:20 to get ready for kid going to school and such. But boy, if I wanted an alarm clock, I would not choose Alarmo, which is Nintendo's head fake this week. They're like, hey, you want new hardware? Here you go. Here's an alarm clock.
It's like wishing on the monkey's paw.
Yes,
for
exactly.
Nintendo. I want Nintendo to announce their hardware. And it's like, oh.
Next week, we're going to be talking about new Nintendo hardware. Fuck, not this. So I didn't... Was there an announcement before the hand that there was going to be something? That's what I thought. Okay, it was just boom, here's the thing.
Showed up.
So Nintendo dropped something on, was it Tuesday? Wednesday this week? I don't remember which day it was. Tuesday. And it's an alarm clock for single people because it has motion sensors. So if your alarm goes off, then you start kind of moving as you're getting up. It starts making more sound effects for whatever of the 5 game profiles you've chosen.
I'll be nicer. It is an alarm clock for a child.
Okay. That is a kind interpretation. You are correct.
I think that's exactly what it's for.
Even though
they're not even thinking beyond that. They're like, no, a kid sleeps in their bed. Done.
But their ad or whatever the hell this thing was, I don't remember it having kids. It was all seemed like
I'm sure they
teenagers or older.
Teenagers, yeah. Teenagers still alone in their bed. But yeah, I definitely didn't feel like it was adult focused. Even though there are adults who may be like, I want that. But
it's
if you're 2 people.
Yes, if you're 2 people, you are fucked. Will you stop moving? Mario is saying, wahoo, wahoo.
Ding, ding.
So the idea is 5 game profiles, Mario, Zelda, Pikmin, etc. And it makes them, music. You can choose different songs from the game franchise. And that's your wake up. It has a little scene on the face of the clock and it has the music. And then as you move, it starts making sound effects from that franchise.
And if you don't get up, it intensifies.
It just gets louder and more sounds. Good Lord. I just completely panned this. And then my daughter and I are going to play Echoes of Wisdom this weekend. And she saw in the news section, like a little thing. And she's like, what is that? And I was like, well, I'll show it to you. I'm like, this is dumb. Whoops. She was like, that is so cool. Dad, I want that for Christmas. I was like, oh no, what have I done? So yeah. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Similar in the vein of I find it cute and I can laugh at it. Showed it to my kids. My daughter is completely absolutely not. I like to wake up and lay in bed reading for 45 minutes, an hour every morning. I absolutely do not want something harassing me to get out of bed. This is awful. Why would they do that? Was her response. My son was like, oh, that's neat. And he's like, how much is it? I'm like, oh, it's like $100, and he's like, no. And so that's where that stopped. I think you can still buy one right now, so that must show something of like the demand there or not.
Part of it's the demand, and part of it is like you have to be an NSO member to buy it, which I'm just praying to fucking God. They're like, hey, let's test out selling Switch 2 to NSO members first. They're probably not going to, but goddamn, would this be a great test run of like, can we make this thing work and get around scalpers? Certainly,
it makes it harder for scalping, which is great.
Yeah, that's not foolproof. For example,
nothing's foolproof.
PS5 in Japan was like, you have to be a member from 2014 until January of this year or whatever, July of this year. So before they made the announcement. So if they were like, you had to be an NSO member anytime between when it started and last month or something.
Yeah.
So you couldn't jump on now. But I went on and bought it. So I bought it for my daughter for Christmas. So it'll be here in November and hold off until Christmas and give it to her. So I can report back
the sweet sounds of Zelda. Wake up, Link.
Link, open your eyes. That would be the best if it did that.
It does. Like, they showed that in the video.
I didn't see that part. Okay, great.
There's a part where they show that's one of the sounds you can have it start making.
Perfect.
Like you can have the opening of Breath of the Wild. But I'm also like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that being my wake up every morning.
At least that makes sense. I can see that thematically making some sense. Oh my God.
I don't know. I think this just also shows that like a reminder that Nintendo themselves don't see themselves as just video game company, video game hardware company.
No, they see themselves
as a toy company. Yeah, definitely. I think they see themselves as a toy company more than anything.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is just another one of those things where it's like, no, reminder. Nintendo just does things, weird things,
weird shit sometimes.
They're not your Sonys or your Microsofts who are like, no, we make consoles and games. It's like Nintendo's like, yeah, we made playing cards for a long time. Like, whatever brings joy and entertainment, they will probably be there in some form.
And I'm sure they have modest expectations for this thing.
Yeah.
It is a neat holiday item, so well done. But I'm glad they didn't say ahead of time, hey, tune in 3 days when we have news to share, because people would have been expecting something else.
I know. Sometimes I just want them to do that, though, because I enjoy the amount of just absurdity that people... Like, people would flip out, but then I would also be like, this is why you don't get your expectations up. Maybe companies need to do that. Just keep reinforcing, never get your expectations up. Beat people down of just like, yeah, we're going to announce something, and then it's always just some random thing until it actually is the right thing. So no one ever actually knows anymore if it's going to be something good. And you're like, that's right. Now we don't have to constantly put out like, no... Like Nintendo on the last few directs, but there will be no Switch successor news in this direct. It's like
exactly.
What have we got to?
They're not even making news with that disclaimer because that'd be so funny. They're just like, there'll be no news of the Nintendo Switch 2 in the upcoming. Oh fuck, shit, we said it.
Yeah.
We're mid-October when this is publishing. This next week is like in my head the ripe time to have a Switch 2, which means we're not going to have a Switch 2 announcement.
Maybe,
but it feels close. I would say.
I mean, here's the thing: Nintendo's going to do it when they're going to. I don't think there's going to be much forewarning, just like the alarm clock thing coming out. I guess the best you're going to get is a day notice of saying, "Hey, we're going to do a direct tomorrow morning." So, I mean, I still think any time now is possible. It's going to be, I would think, either a Tuesday or a Wednesday morning. Is typical for them. So, I don't know. We'll just sit here and wait and be surprised when it actually happens.
Oh my God, I'll be so ecstatic. I cannot wait.
I know. And aside of other weird news that actually happened, we're talking about like, modest sales and expectations there. I'm sure the Switch 2 will be like, not that, super hard to get. But you can get a PlayStation 5 Pro right now if you want one.
Yeah, they did
They
not
went
sell
up
out of
for they
those.
went up for sale. I can get one on Amazon right now.
Yeah, and Sony
Yeah.
Direct or PlayStation Direct's had them for a while. I just, we had talked about it before, but there's not a huge market for these. It's a luxury item.
Yeah.
I don't
Clearly,
think,
I'm like, wow.
but the PS4 Pro didn't sell it either, as far as I remember.
I can't remember, but you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Yeah, it was never
Mostly because I just walked into GameStop and got one. So
sure. I am still reminded though at the picture of being like, oh yeah, it doesn't have a disk drive. You're paying $700, and they couldn't even include the stupid disk drive
they couldn't.
or stand.
That's the thing. Yeah, the fucking stand, which costs $5 goddamn. I mean, you have to buy it for $30 or whatever to make that fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
and they couldn't even include the stand. It's crazy how much that costs for what's not in it. I mean, I'm inclined to, if I were to get, I'm not going to do it, but if I were to get a PS5 with a disc drive, like I had wanted to do at the mid-gen refresh, get the base fucking PS5 with a disc, because it doesn't have to go online with that disc drive.
Nope.
So for me, that's the one to get.
It's
but
sitting right here next to my desk.
Yes,
it's
yes.
great.
I wish I would have got that originally. I was just panic clicking, panic clicked the first one I got, and I was like, "This is the one I'm getting." Then,
but no, we were talking before the show. Pretty quiet week overall, except for that alarm clock. That just Nintendo just having to shake things up just a little bit this week. But other than that,
was that pun on purpose though? It was a quiet week except for that alarm clock. Yep. So good. There's one more piece of news, actually, that I haven't talked to you about.
Really?
Apparently, this is not news, but I'm going to make it news. There's a really strong rumor of an Xbox partner showcase next week, which is a perfect place.
Don't say it. Don't.
Oh, my gosh. For Silksong. Apparently, there was a picture of Team Cherry. They had emerged from the wilderness and they were at a con. They were at PAX Australia this weekend.
Oh, sure.
So they're alive. Seems
did
like
they have a booth, or were they just actually?
No, they were just there. Yeah,
they were just at PAX Australia as
that's
like
what I read.
attendees.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
That's funny. Go back and finish your game. Don't come to the con.
But there's the trick. We're about to announce it at the Xbox Partner Direct.
No, they're not.
Oh my God, Anthony! If they did, though, boy, I'd be the happiest boy.
You would be.
And you would officially be buried for a fantasy.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Well, that's if it comes out this year.
Oh God, you're right. They could announce.
They could just announce it. Yeah. Who's?
You're
I'm trying
right.
to see. I'm actually looking here. What year? Team Cherry is coming to PAX Australia, but I don't know if this is. Put a date on the website, Team Cherry. What PAX was that?
Noticed more and more that they don't. So they're like evergreen.
No, that was actually 2019.
Yeah, exactly.
2018. It's like the last blog post on their website is 12/13/2019.
From the Team Cherry website.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
They said they on December 2019. Their post was Team Charity is signing off for the holidays, and they haven't posted on their website since.
And will never coming back. Oh my God, that's so interesting.
I mean, I was talking to a friend yesterday about it, actually, because he's really, really excited for Silksong, and just like, there's been no news. And I'm like, well, there's also no pressure for them to put it out. Like, they have more money than there's no financial pressure for them to put out to, like,
no, definitely
live or survive. Like, they're not, this game doesn't mean that they, like, can feed their families and just continue to live. So, yeah, that's off the table completely. So once you take that off the table, for people who are making art, well, other pressures tend to not be as high, and they want it. I think a lot of people and a lot of creators would get to the point of, well, we'll release it when we feel it's done. And it's like,
yeah,
well, art's never done.
Right.
Or very rarely do you ever feel like it's done. So I don't know.
This is all true.
And that's why I'm like, is it coming out? I'm sure it will eventually, but they have zero incentive to not take as much time as they want.
Right. So if they don't, that's going to be a 0 for me on Fantasy Critic. But in good news, Rise of the Golden Idol got a release date. It's coming
Yeah,
out
it did.
November 12th. That surprised the shit out of me.
I think it surprised probably a lot of people.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, right. I wonder if on Fantasy Critic it's like the number one game for the week people are picking up. It is not actually, but it's in the top 5. Mario Party Jamboree is number 1. Interesting.
Yeah.
There is good buzz about that one. That comes out next week. I've got it pre-downloaded.
I think you've pretty much got me. I don't think I can come back.
I think there's a possibility if Baby Steps doesn't come out, Hollow Knight doesn't come out.
I mean, yeah, I do have a few more. I have a few more games to get scored.
You do. So if I have a few but Mario and Luigi Brothership is previewing really well. Yep. Dragon Quest 3 is on my list. Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 is previewing pretty well. Veilguard's previewing pretty well. Indiana Jones, no fucking idea. I don't think Baby Steps is going to make it this year, and I don't think Silk Song is going to make it this year. So,
yeah,
I would swap out either of those because I drafted them, but I can't because you locked me into them. Oh well.
Yeah.
But you got one next week. You got Unknown 9 Awakening coming out next week.
Yeah, we'll see how that. Well, it's very quiet, so now I'm worried.
Yeah, but it's very quiet, and only 4.2% of people on this website drafted it. Oh man, maybe you might know something I don't know. Although UFO 50 was, that was 27% who picked that one. That one gave me it went from a 90 to a 91. Yeah. It was at 90 for a long time, and then it pushed up 1 point.
Yeah, it's real good because it's real good.
Do you have it yet, or have you just heard?
No.
Oh my god!
People continue to talk about it, and I'm like, I get it. It's real good.
It is fucking great. Oh my god, it's so good. It's wild how much shit is in there.
Yeah. So quiet news week. So playing things though.
Yeah,
that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun, actually.
Well, you start then, because I think we're playing some of the same stuff.
So I'll start with we'll go in chronological order.
Okay.
Start of the week, Monday night, about 5 hours later than it was intended to be. Diablo IV, Vessel of Hatred, got in there, created Spiritborn, and started playing. I've played a good chunk this week. My Spiritborn's already max level, well into Paragons. I finished the story. Wow. I finished the story. It's not that long.
How long was it?
7 hours? Something like that? 7 hours. I mean, it's about what you'd expect from a Diablo act. Like, they're not that long. When I'm like, oh, this seems short, but then I thought back on like the D3 expansion and then the D2 expansion. I'm like, oh no, those are roughly the same length. You get those. They're like 5 to 7 hours. First time through, and then future times through, like 2 hours tops, or less. You go real fast. Yeah, played through that. Man, do I really like the callbacks to Kurast. Act 3. That's cool. Like, it's tons of neat stuff there. Lots of like, hey, if you played a lot of Diablo 2 and spent a lot of time in Act 3 in Diablo 2, you will notice things, and it's really cool. Like, the team did their research and tried to stay true to that area and coming back to it, and that felt great. Come back to the Kurast docks. It's just where you are in Act 3. That's your home base in Diablo 2, and it's different but the same. You're like, okay, I can see what's going on here. But so story wise, I won't get into spoilers or anything, but it's interesting. It moves things through. Clearly they plan for another expansion. This doesn't finish it. This doesn't finish it at all. And also, I don't know. I'm like, will this be an expansion, another expansion, or will they actually just patch in some more mainline story a bit when new seasons come out? I'm very curious how they're going to do that now, because it is a live service game. It is living, and they have said that they wanted to do more than one expansion. They originally planned to do more than one expansion for Diablo 3, but I can't remember why that fell through in the end.
Well, I'm reading Play Nice.
Schreier's book talks about it, right?
I can tell you why. So Diablo 3 was just in flames, and they were working on the Reaper of Souls.
Yep.
And Activision was basically like putting pressure on Blizzard, saying like this game's done, move on to the next thing.
Sure.
So Moreheim, I think, felt that way as well. So they spiked a second expansion. They were supposed to have one
Yep.
before Reaper of Souls was done, and then that's why it never happened. And then later they regretted doing that because how great Reaper of Souls was and how it rebooted everything and brought that back up.
Yeah.
So eventually they worked on the Necromancer drop, which wasn't a full
Yeah.
expansion. It was just the character and it,
The class.
You know, yeah, it was $15. Wasn't a ton of stuff. You know, it was just class.
Mhm.
So it was kind of done at that point. But they had made a decision before ROS to not do it, and they later regretted that. So
yeah, I don't think they're going to make that decision this time. I think there's going to probably be at minimum 2, another one, or potentially 3.
yeah.
At around this cadence, a year and a half, basically.
Well, it reviewed well. People are liking it. I think it's selling well. So it got an 86 Open Critic.
Yeah, they've done a great job with it overall. I feel like the changes that they made outside of the expansion, just to the game itself, again, they've already spent a year making it better. They've just continued to make it better. And I'm like, yeah, I think you found your game now.
Yeah.
This stands amongst the other Diablos. It's its own thing. It feels, in a weird way, kind of like a sequel to Diablo 3 now.
Yeah, right.
In pacing wise, like the combat pacing and what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, this feels closer to Diablo 3. There are certain, the leveling completely now feels like Diablo 3. You get to 60 and then you do paragons, but it's not the Diablo 3 paragon style. It's still the boards, which is 4 interpretation of it. So it's like 3 through a lens of improving that. And then kind of making it a little bit more, I would say, smoother overall. And then, like I've talked before, less focused on, there's no set, so finding items stays a lot more interesting to make your build. And I've seen it again now playing through the Spiritborn, is I get to high level, I max my character, I'm using a certain build, a unique drops that does a crazy thing, and I'm like, I want to change my entire build. I want to use this unique. I want to try something different. And they've done a good job of making the uniques make you step back and be like, oh, I could do something really weird now.
Oh, that's cool.
Do I want to change? Like, I've spent dozens of hours doing this one thing. I guess I'm going to do a different thing now because I can. It keeps it fresh in that way. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Spiritborn as a class, it's pushed probably a little bit far. It's real good.
I can't wait to check that out. I'm pushing
real strong.
I'm pushing quickly through, not quickly, but I'm pushing intentionally through the main campaign. I'm halfway through Act 4 right. No, I finished Act 4. I'm into Act 5 now.
Okay.
Because Act 4 was really short. It was basically go and beat Andariel for the most part. Which
was fun. I'll be honest.
It was fun. It was a really fun boss fight.
That was a neat throwback. You're like, Andariel? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what, you talk about this as being in some way a sequel to 3, which is totally true. But God, so much of this is, like not a sequel to 2 in sequentially, but sort of like there's a lot of callbacks to 2 in really cool ways. But unfortunately, like Mashif, when he dies, you get his sword. And I was like, cool. It's way under what I use now. So I guess I can do the transmog, but then I don't know if I know how to do that. I went to the wardrobe to find it or whatever, and I was like, I don't think I have it here. Because you go and you destroy it at the forge, right?
Yeah.
And I think that unlocks it in your transmog. But
it should give you, if it can be transmogged, that's what gives you the transmog.
Got it. Yeah, sure.
But if I don't know if it can, or if it's special in any way, it may not be a unique model.
It's not.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's not. As far as I know. So anyway, the item drops, because I've been playing Diablo 4 this week, a couple of nights, and I just don't get very many items that are better than what I have. Every couple of hours I'll get something, and I don't know if that's the right cadence. It's better than getting stuff every second, I guess, but
depends on what. How did this the patch for the expansion affect you? Because they radically changed itemization again for this.
So I don't know
level changed, and they compressed level. Like, stat levels a lot. Like your max life is way lower now.
I don't know if I've noticed. Other than after the patch, I died more often. But that was mainly because I was at Andariel and I died 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
trying to figure out the mechanics. I
Item
haven't.
level came down, was compressed down. Like what
Maybe
the
that's
the
being
max you'll
noticed.
see in, because I don't know what difficulty you're playing on now, because
I'm
that
playing it
also
hard.
completely
I'm
changed.
playing it hard now.
Okay, you're gonna see the max item. Um, I think you're gonna see is level 750.
Okay,
Um,
I'm not anywhere near there yet. Then
um, so
I mean,
yeah.
like I'm seeing like 250 or so.
Okay,
Is
I
what I'm
don't know what
seeing.
level you are though.
I'm
So
level 48 right now.
okay, I don't know.
So I'm
I have no
surprised
idea.
that I'm not getting higher level stuff too often. Every once in a while, I get something
Yeah.
that's just like marginally better, but I haven't really had that many great item drops, to be honest,
Hmm.
at all. And for a while, I was playing on normal difficulty, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but when I first picked up Diablo IV, I was getting my ass kicked, and I was like, oh shit, I should turn it down from hard to normal. And then normal was too easy. I'm like, well, I gotta kick it back up to hard.
I mean, I should
Um,
be honest. I played on normal all the way through the expansion
on
because
this time,
there was yeah, there's no reason not to.
yeah,
The bonuses aren't worth it. I got played on normal, and till I felt like I was like, oh, I'm very strong, and then I jumped to penitent,
oh shit,
and
okay,
I was just playing on penitent, and I just got to torment 1
okay,
today,
okay,
and I'm still just destroying things. I have
interesting.
I've not died a single time on my Spiritborn.
Hmm.
Um, but I just played normal for the main story because it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
Um,
It was just too easy for me on normal. I was like, I'm
yeah,
just wiping through everything, and
yeah.
I thought if I went to hard, I'd get more experience, which I think is true.
You get a
Um,
little bit more, not
yeah,
noticeably.
I want to push through to 50, and I'm almost there. I'm at 49, I think now. Actually,
Yeah, because that's
um,
capped for non-expansion, right?
is I thought it was 60. Is 50 and
It's,
then 60 into the expansion?
well, I just don't know. I mean, a character, you don't have to do any of the content. I just don't remember what is locked behind the expansion, or if every character can get
Oh, got it. Yeah, because
to
I have the
60.
expansion. I can go
Then
into
you
it right now. Actually, it says
then
I
you'll go to
can.
60. 60 is max. You'll
Okay,
get to
cool.
60.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
and it's not gonna like gate you on getting to 60. Like, if you're 60 before you hit the expansion content, you're 60.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
You'll
cool.
get Paragon levels at that point. Yeah.
I just think it
So
plays
yeah,
really fucking well, man. It's really,
it
really
does.
fun to play. And I play on my computer for the most part, or Steam Deck sometimes, but I play 100% on the gamepad.
Oh, so I mean, I'm on PS5 with gamepad. I never want
Oh
to
yeah,
play
that's
with
right.
a
You are.
keyboard.
Yeah,
I never want to play with a keyboard and mouse again.
yeah,
I have it on. I've done it a little bit on the PC, and I'm like, nah. I like playing this as a controller. Actually, I've felt that way since playing Diablo 3 on the PS4.
yeah. Exactly.
And I was like, wait, no, I just like playing this game. And they've adapted the controls so well that I just like playing it as an action game on my controller.
Yep.
It feels great. And 4 has felt great like that. Because yeah, the main time if I'm playing it on the PC version is just on the Steam Deck, which feels exactly the same as playing it on the PS5. Um, so yeah, no, it's been great. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy to have a really cool action RPG, and glad they figured out what Diablo 4 is. I think was that in the Schreier book? I saw a quote that was basically saying, I think it was from Morheim, that was, "You don't know the Diablo game you're making until you release it."
Yeah, actually, I think it was a quote from Pardo.
Was that Pardo who
Yeah,
gave that one?
it's attributed to Pardo, but basically said you don't get good at making Diablo games until you release it.
Yeah,
And that seems right.
yeah, and I think that's clearly now we now have 2 examples of that, and honestly, 2 was good. 2 was much better with the expansion.
Oh
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
like the expansion added so much. I will say we got rune words back. They're very weird in 4. They're not. Well, they're not weird. They're just different.
Yeah, it's like two
They're not.
halves of one thing kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not like. Well, that's the other thing. Like when you talk about itemization, going back and playing like Diablo 2 Resurrected, the optimal way to itemize yourself in um, Diablo 2, which I didn't know when we were playing back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, But now is, oh yeah, it's all about just like making sure you have enough sockets and getting the right runes and rune wording your item to be something else.
Yeah.
Like the best items in the game are just rune words. And that's that's your in game. Get the runes.
Yep.
Which is fine, but that kind of can get a little boring, I will say. And in this, they just made the runes like they're effectively abilities at this point. Two halves. One half gives you a resource. One half gives you a resource on a condition. So, like when you use a potion, get 200 offering as the resource, or when you evade, get 75, and that's the top half. And the bottom half is when you have this much offering, do a thing.
Right.
Use an ability automatically from a different class, even.
Yep.
So that's fun.
That's the piece that I thought was interesting, is that you can pull stuff from other classes you're not playing.
Yeah, I'm running around. What am I doing? I have one that is when I use the same core skill 3 times in a row, which I do a lot, it gets me offering. And then I spend that offering to put up one of the rogue's defensive abilities. So I really just don't die.
Yeah.
It's really good. And it just happens automatically. So they're not as impactful as the Diablo II rune words, but they are another level of another avenue of crafting your actual build that you're making, which I think that's what Diablo IV has really grown in this past year and a half, has been other avenues to affect your build and things you need to min-max, which really an action RPG, a loot-based RPG like this, that's what it comes down to. You need lots of little things to tweak and try. I think they went too far when they released on the number of stats that existed. They've collapsed all those down. There was always the what was it? I don't remember. There was percent to do this thing if enemy is vulnerable, and God, they had dozens of useless stats that were on things, and it's they Loot Reborn, they got rid of most of that stuff, so it's just a little bit more consolidated. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the expansion overall. I've done all the new activities except for the raid.
And the raid is 2+.
Yes, 2 to 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the point where I have the quest where I can unlock it now, but because you have to get to Torment 1 before you can do that.
Got it.
But I just haven't unlocked it because they did add a group finder into the game, so you can randomly match with people to go do it if you want to. I just haven't felt like I want to randomly match with someone because I have no clue what the mechanics actually are. But yeah,
that's maybe a fun part, is walking into it and having no idea what the fuck's going on and working.
Yeah, I want to make sure the other person is okay with that.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. Right? You okay with us fucking around here and trying to figure this out?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Do you have anything more to say on that one before I switch to chronologically what my next game was?
No, the only thing I had to say about Diablo 4 otherwise, post-patch, is that it's less stable. In terms of how it's running. It's way more stuttery for me. So I'm hoping that gets fixed over time.
On PC?
On PC, yeah. Specifically.
Yeah, I haven't had any stutter on PS5.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Well, they delayed for 5 hours before launching, because I think... And they didn't patch PS5 during that time.
Interesting.
But they did patch Battle.net and Steam.
Yeah, for sure. It was it was a huge fucking update. It was 46 gigs, and then there was another 3-4 gigs the next day.
Yeah, so I think there was something screwed up with the PC client. I don't know what's going on, but I know I've had a 3 or 4 gigabyte patch yesterday on PS5.
Oh, okay. I don't think I saw one on PC as far as I noticed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I have no clue what they're doing on that side. I can't get any visibility into what the patch cadence is for each platform and what needs to be patched or not. I will say I have had a few actual crashes on the PS5. Nothing horrible. It's fine, I get back in and just continue. But
yeah, sure.
I didn't experience that before. I hope the stuff that happened yesterday was to improve some of that on
Yeah,
PS5.
right.
I guess I was playing today and I didn't have any issues, so I had no crashes, no weird hang-ups or anything. So
That's
I'm
good.
hoping it's just stability stuff that they're fixing. But yeah, probably a little hot coming out, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Wee bit. It's a Blizzard launch in some
yeah,
ways.
um,
All right, what's
but
next on
it
your list?
doesn't really surprise me because I remember the Diablo II expansion launching and how much of a clusterfuck that was.
I
BattleNet,
remember
BattleNet
getting.
constantly going down.
Yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
the amount of map, like you would drop into a game and then you'd be running around a map and then it would stop loading the map in, and you'd just get disconnected.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
that was constant, at least for the first couple days after that expansion launch. It was a bit of a nightmare.
That's one of the first computer games, PC games that I remember getting like day of.
Yeah,
So
I
that
remember
was
trying to
interesting.
play it with you once I got the expansion, and we were having BattleNet issues,
That's right.
and being able to try to connect, and the games crash, and the BattleNet servers crashing, and they were just under such insane load. But
Yep.
I'm like, oh right, this is what happens. So if anything, this was pretty light in comparison to previous times. Like there were no queues for this expansion. Like, yeah, it was delayed 5 hours, but I have experienced zero queues just logging in and
Right.
playing. And beyond crashing every once in a while, it's been very generally very stable. So I don't know. But yeah, so what else have I been playing? There was that at the beginning of the week, and then Friday, Metaphor Re Fantazio or Fantasio. I don't know
I've heard both.
exactly. Metaphor. We'll just call it
Yep.
Metaphor.
There we go.
Arrived and it's beautiful collector's edition. It's a very nice collector's edition. I'm glad I got that. I didn't get to put what did I put time into it? Yesterday was the first time, like last night a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then today I've put in probably another couple hours. So I'm through the first main chunk. I'm back at the capital. I'm kind of more free to spend my time, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This game is weird. It's
Oh yeah.
cool, but holy crap.
Yeah.
It is such a unique fantasy game. I mean, there's elves, and they're basically what I'd call like tieflings, horned
Yep.
people.
Sure. Yep.
And then cat people. Trying to think of the other races. No dwarf analog that I can tell. There's fairies. I can say that. The fairy that is your companion is not annoying at all. I was so worried. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
oh no, they're gonna give me a fairy companion. I'm like, oh no.
It's gonna be Navi all over again.
We have a bad history of fairy companions in video games. Actually, this companion is incredible. I'm already so attached to this character.
Gallica, baby.
And
She's awesome.
Gallica's great. Like
Yep.
it's not there's no whininess, there's no annoying tone. It's just like, no, this is a really solid character.
Well, I think it's a better companion than Morgana from the experience I had with
Probably,
Morgana
yeah.
in 5. So I totally agree.
Morgana's not a companion, it's a party member.
Well, I'm thinking of at least as far as I went in Persona 5, it was still a cat. I don't know if it does turns into something else, but that
No,
other.
it's always a cat.
Oh, okay. I always,
But it's a
I think of
party
Morgana.
member.
I think of Morgana as the character that's with you that knows more than you do and kind of tries to tell you how shit goes,
Yes.
basically. So, and I see Gallic in the same way, but
Yeah.
I've always found Morgana a little annoying.
Yes. Gallica is not. That has been very cool. Combat has Persona, but kind of snappier in a lot of ways, like in the turn-based side of it, and then in the real-time aspect is that's just so nice. Being like, hey, you're higher level than this enemy. In the real world, you can just do attacks in real time, and if they're lower level than you just destroy them and without going to.
I like that
turn based. It's real good.
Yep, it's nice time saver. Like, thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in Strikers as well. Almost certain that was in Strikers, P5 Strikers, and then later a certain part of Persona 5, you can get high level. The Mementos is the big dungeon there, like random dungeon, and you can, if you're over level, to a floor and the enemies there, you can just ram the enemies in your van in Mementos, and you don't even fight them. So
that's cool.
they've dabbled with it, and they've just done it at a grander scale in Metaphor.
It just respects your time.
It totally does.
Feels really nice. I played.
Yeah.
I'm just playing the demo. I played probably 3 hours. I'm past the point where you kind of fight the first big boss, and you get your. It's not a persona; it's an archetype, I think.
Yeah.
So I've just passed that part.
Oh, man, the enemy design, the humans, is so. I was reading somewhere that was like, oh, this is Erroneous Bosch, which is an artist I hadn't heard of before. Which I'm shocked that I
heard the name, but I don't know anything about their.
It's a Dutch painter from the late 1400s, so like was making stuff like right at the start of the Renaissance. Passed away kind of at the start, early 1500s when the Renaissance was picking up. But I'm like, I hadn't really seen a lot of what Dutch painting was at that time. Yeah, the creator said that they've based a lot of designs inspired by this guy, and yeah, you look at his like works, and you're like, yep, that's creepy.
My God, this is weird ass shit.
It is for late 1400s. You're like, what in the world? And then I'm like, I don't know. I see Metaphor taking aspects of this all over the place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, triptychs.
The triptychs are really crazy.
This thing is called a hell panel, and it looks like some of the creatures from this fucking game.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
So they took
Hieronymus Bosch. All right.
Yeah, Hieronymus Bosch. I would have never got that. I never studied this person. My one art class in college was Renaissance to modern art, and so I think Bosch would have fallen just before where we started studying art. And really, that class was really focused about Renaissance and being Renaissance, Italian Renaissance. So I studied a lot of Italian artists in the lead up to the Renaissance. So yeah, I never saw this guy. Very cool. But very kind of like weird. I wouldn't straight up say disturbing designs. They're just off-putting.
Well, it's like one of the first humans is like the egg with like feet sticking out of it. Yeah. And then the first boss thing there where you get your fucking...
It's so intriguing.
Oh my God.
The story being like, the guy at work called it inverted fantasy. In a lot of ways, because they have the book that you're reading in the game that's talking basically about our world to a point, being like, yeah, there's like glass towers, skyscrapers, and cities, but a utopia though, in the way of that there's no discrimination. I'm really curious how this game's gonna really handle that, because it seems like it's going to be a major theme throughout. Is like there's the tribes, and there's a hierarchy of tribes, and there's a lot of discrimination against these fantasy races against each other. So I think it's very topical, and I'm hoping that they handle it well. Although the reviews seem to say that they have.
The reviews are like, this handled it really well. So
and they really dive into that a lot and don't shy away from the ugly parts of it, and try to sugarcoat things. So I'm very curious. And yeah, the inverted being like, oh, it's these fantasy characters thinking of a world, a modern world. I mean,
well, I won't say that because you maybe don't know yet.
I don't know. I'm far enough. I'm past that where you've talked about.
No. I've heard it from reviews.
Oh, we've heard it further.
Full game, yeah. So
yeah, no, I don't want. Nope, I have no. I have not been spoiled on where this is going to go.
Yeah, it's really. But the story is cool.
So. Yeah, it is crazy already. I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. I think it's a great onboarding spot for people who want a Persona type game that isn't modern day in high school. Like, mechanically, you're getting a really good version of a Persona game that just has a different theme and a different avenue to get players, like yourself, probably. because I feel like the high school, the Japanese high school is not going to do it for you.
It's really not. I keep trying with Persona 5. I'm like, I know this is a good story. I just can't get past the high school setting to get into it. Whereas this one, I'm like I said, probably around 3 hours into the demo, really enjoying it so far. It's very, I always think it's askew is the word that comes to mind, where it's like,
Yeah,
I know this thing, but it's just slightly off kilter. And that makes it
yeah.
really, really interesting to me. My litmus test is I've not purchased it yet. I'm still playing the demo. I'm like, if I get through the demo and I'm like, I want to keep playing, then I will pick it up. But
I'm very curious where the demo ends. Is the thing. Does it say how long it is by chance? Does anyone?
I've heard between 6 and 10 hours. It says that you
Okay.
get through the first dungeon, but I'm like, I feel like I just did that, but maybe that wasn't
No,
the dungeon,
no.
you know?
Huh. I don't know then.
Yeah.
Because I've done I mean, I've done the part that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that's like an intro kind of dungeon,
That's
but
what it
not
feels like, right?
really. Then there's another one that I do. You have to do, and I don't know if they'd consider that a full dungeon or not. What I'm doing now is a full dungeon,
Okay. So that's
like
probably the
very
one where it
persona
ends.
like dungeon. It has a time, like I have to have it done by a certain time period, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's really neat. I'm I shouldn't be surprised that it's good. And it sounds like it's selling really well for them. I think they said that the fastest
Oh,
selling
yeah.
Atlas game ever
Yep.
so far.
Million in like a day, basically.
Yeah.
And P3 Reload was 1 million in a week, and that was the
Yeah.
fastest before this one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how this game was honestly going to do overall because it's so weird. um, and that might just might make a lot of people be like, I don't want to take a risk on weird. But I think there's the demo. Play the demo. Everyone should just do that and see how they feel about the
Exactly.
game overall. Because it definitely is just building on itself even now. Man, do I like all the characters that they've introduced now. You have Stoll, right?
Yes,
At
I have
this
Stoll.
point,
Yeah.
Stoll's great. He's had it already in the like a couple more hours after where you're at. Great character development and growth.
Oh, very cool.
Like they don't the characters they introduce have really good hooks and they're really cool. um so I've had two more companions since then, and they're both like, yes, I want to know more about you.
Do you have the it's like a rat character almost?
No, not yet. Don't have that
Okay.
one.
Okay.
I have the red-haired elf was the one I just got.
Cool.
And she is cool. Archetype stuff is cool. It's like Persona's light in some ways. Because you're not having to collect all hundreds of personas. There's not that many archetypes.
Right.
But they still give off a lot of the same vibe. I don't know. Cool game. I will probably have more to say next week because I'll bet I'll be playing a lot of this over Diablo right now because I just want the story. But I got to figure out how I'm going to balance these games. They're too big and too much time in very different ways.
Yeah, I mean, and Metaphor is, obviously there's a bunch of voice acting, but it's a reedy game. Lots of reading happening.
Yes.
In that game for sure.
Yes.
So you got to be in the mood for that, folks. My gaming time is at night, so it's hard sometimes to start reading and then just fall asleep. But it's intriguing, more intriguing to me than Persona 5 right now, and it's really just because of the high school setting. So can't do that. I used to be fine with that. Now I really can't. More that I've gotten in my career, I'm just like, no, I don't want anything set in a college or a university or a high school.
Yep. You're like, no, please no.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing this week?
No, that's it.
Okay, I got two for you. One is Final Fantasy 16. I've put probably another 5 hours into that between side quests and main quests. I've got like 4 main quests left. I've just gone across the Narrows. I'm headed towards, and I cannot remember his fucking name, but it's like Odin's.
Oh, yes.
So I'm heading towards Odin, and it's getting really interesting. I've taken spoilers for Final Fantasy 16, folks. I've taken Jill's
Oh, she gave it to you,
She
right?
gave it to
She
me. Yeah.
gave you Shiva.
Yep, that was a very cool scene. I've been waiting for this scene, and it finally happened. They're like naked on the beach,
Yep.
just chatting. I was like, wow, okay, we're just naked chatting, which is
Back to
so
back, not looking at just chatting.
well,
Um,
back front to back. Like Jill was hugging on
well, eventually, yes.
Clive from the back, but yes, back to back at the beginning, which I thought was really cool. Really cool way to do that. Do
And it
you?
showed a respect for the character that they had for each other.
Yes,
Still,
exactly.
of being like, they both, of course, have feelings for each other, but also have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it was a really cool and interesting way to do that, where it's just like not just like we're smushing, and that's what
yeah,
this is all about. Like maybe they did, I assume they did after the
yeah,
camera goes off, but this is very much just like we're close friends, and and then later Joshua finds out that he took it from Jill and punches him in the face.
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I'm still waiting. I've got like four things left, and where the fuck is Dion? Like this guy's got to be coming back. Based on what's set up. So I assume he's coming back for the Odin fight or something. Where the fuck is he? Um, and you're not going to say. So
No, I'm not going to say, but
but I know he's coming back somewhere, somehow, something.
yeah.
So I'm enjoying that. I had the 2 DLCs. I know they're interspersed in here somewhere, but I kind of am doing a couple side quests. I don't know if I finished the side quest with Karen or Charon,
Oh, yeah.
where they're like impugning her I don't know, work ethic or whatever, like trying to like fund both sides of a war just so she can make money off of selling steel or whatever else. And you go and track that down, and it's really someone who wants to get revenge on her, and you find out a little bit more about her. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
characters,
that's what the side quests are. They're not necessary, but all of them do dig deeper into those side characters quite a bit, and you start
yeah,
learning a lot about them.
I think that is cool. The depths of the characters, I think, for as much, I it's not that I wish this wasn't called Final Fantasy. I'm glad it is. Whatever, it has some of the same motifs as Final Fantasy, but as we talked a lot, it's a very different game. It's not an RPG.
Yeah.
It's more an action game, but it's pretty fucking good. And the closer I get to the end, the better I like it. The more interested I am in the cutscenes, the more excited I am to get back to it and play some more. I'm gonna play some more tonight. So yeah, it's good. So I'm
Yeah,
playing
that's
that,
cool.
and then Echoes of Wisdom, baby. Echoes of Wisdom is I was wearing my Zelda hoodie. We took our daughter to a skate park. She rode her scooter there. And then we were walking away, and this guy was like, "Hey, are you playing the new Princess Zelda game?" And I was like, "That is a very interesting way to refer to this game." In my head, I didn't say it out loud. I was like, "Hell yeah." And he's like, "I am too. It's really different. I really like it." It's like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It is very different. The combat is a puzzle. You don't get to like just swipe
Yep.
with your sword. You have to puzzle out how you want to engage in each combat encounter. And I think that's the coolest part. Is there's so much combat in the Zelda games traditionally where you are attacking with Link with your sword.
Yep.
That kind of it gets a little samey. Whereas this, I just try different echoes all the time and do different things, and it's more passive, but it makes the whole game a puzzle. The combat's a puzzle. The puzzles are puzzles. And then there's a dungeon I'm in where you're able to get an echo of a cat statue, and my daughter was just we got it, and she
I'm
realized
sure
what
she
it.
was.
Oh my god, she lost her shit. She's like, wait, oh my god, we can put cat statues anywhere we want. It's like, yep. So every room we go into, we leave a cat statue, and she's like, Dad, this is the greatest Zelda game ever. I think I like it better than Wind Waker. Just because you can leave cat statues
Hey,
everywhere.
it's all you need sometimes. It's
Hey
all you
man,
need.
so good, so good. And we finished Gerudo, and we're over in the Jabul waters where the Zora and stuff are, and doing things over there, and it's great, man. And she wants to get back to it every time that we play in. We put quite a bit of time into this weekend. I'm so happy that she's wanting to play this because she put it aside to play more Astrobot and play more Stray, and I was like, let's get back to this. I was playing it by myself, and it's really cool, and I just want to play this with her instead of by myself, and it's been fantastic. It's really, really good. But you have to be open to a slightly different Zelda experience,
Yeah,
and some people are
exactly.
not. Some people are not.
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a. I mean, I feel like that was similar weirdly similar things when Breath of the Wild came out.
Good point.
Like, people were
That's right.
like, no, this isn't the Zelda that doesn't have dungeons. It breaks it up into all these little shrines and has kind of the beasts are kind of like bigger shrines, but they're not Zelda what we've seen dungeons at, or used to what a Zelda dungeon is.
Exactly.
But I mean, I also felt that way when people were complaining about Wind Waker when it came out, and
Right.
being like, "What the hell is this? It's cartoony, and this isn't the Zelda I want. What is this?" And it's like, Nintendo just does what they want with this.
Exactly.
And it's always been that way, and they will change things all the time, because I think for them and that creative team is that they don't want to get stuck doing the same thing over and over. They've There's probably a feeling of like, they've done that. That's safe, but we don't always want to be safe.
Right.
That's the creative drive. So it's cool. I have not played it. My daughter has played a lot of it. She beat 3 bosses today.
Oh, jeez.
She's
Okay.
late in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I asked her, I'm like, how sure that you have to go? She's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But she's just playing every day for her time and just working her way through it, puzzling her way through. Yeah, it's really fun to watch. I peek every once in a while just to see what's going on, because I don't want complete spoilers, but I love it. She just walks across the top of the trees everywhere.
Oh, I was playing with my daughter.
That's our main mode of transportation. Just walk on the trees.
I showed my daughter that yesterday. I said, this is what Anthony's daughter loves to do. I showed her, and she was like, I don't like that. I want to explore each area before we go to the next. I'm like, okay, I can go back. She's like, go back. I was like, this is freaking cool. Let me just get a warp over here before I go back, because now I have a little anchor into this other area.
Yeah.
God, the music's great. The sprite work is great. The frame drops are there. I barely notice them. It's not a big deal for us, at least.
It seemed my daughter hasn't complained or noticed really at all.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably similar to Link's Awakening in that regard. Like, sometimes there are frame drops.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
got man, just this year for Nintendo. We talked about it last week, but even just this part of the year for Nintendo, we got Echoes of Wisdom, and by all accounts, the previews for Mario Party Jamboree look really good, and also the Brothership, Mario and Luigi Brothership, look really good. Like 3 pretty darn good games, seemingly. Those other ones are not out yet, but seemingly, to end the year, it's just like Nintendo wants to end strong, and it's great.
Yeah,
great to see, I should say.
Yeah. When am I going to get time for that?
I believe you will get time before the end of the year, but
I think
so.
I think it's going to be it's going to be like end of November, December.
Exactly,
I actually have thought now. I'm not buying another game the rest of this year.
Yeah,
I probably don't need to. Like, I'm like, oh, I could get Dragon Quest 3, but I'm like, I'm not going to play it right now. I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Dragon Age, similarly, I'm like, I do not think I'll have time to fit Dragon Age in right now.
Yeah.
I'll still be deep in Metaphor. Metaphor is like 100 hours.
Exactly. Well, and I thought that I would have time I would check out Metaphor, which I am with the demo, but I thought I would purchase that. I thought I'd purchase Dragon Age, and I haven't purchased either one of them because I'm playing so much other stuff right now. Like,
exactly.
The backlog quest was kind of good for me because I'm playing some older games.
And I need to finish Rebirth. That's right. I need to finish Rebirth before the end of the year.
Yeah, me too.
For our Game of the Year discussion, because I'm sure I need to consider it.
Yeah, for a long time this year, that was my Game of the Year, and I didn't think anything could beat it. And then Astrobot came out. And, Echoes of Wisdom, too. So, there's a lot of cleanup you and I both need to do before we get to January. And then next year is nutso.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, anything else for the good of the podcast?
No, I'm pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. And we will be back next week where we will be talking about the new Nintendo hardware that is announced.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's see what kind of hardware that is. All right, folks. Thanks so much.
Later, everyone.